Hi, guys. Just want to say welcome to this edition of today's Success Clues with Matthew Ledford here and John DeSchmidt. John is one of my buddies, referral partners out of the Charlotte market. We've been working together on a project with a client who's looking in Western North Carolina, selling something in Charlotte. And so it's wonderful to have the EXP network that we can use to refer business back and forth to each other and help take good care of people all across, really all across the world now. You know, we're expanding into so many different countries. And so John and I, when we first started talking, I realized he had a great depth of knowledge around prospecting for sales by owner and with expireds, and really being on point on the phone, differentiating himself from the rest of the market. And we're all suffering from a lack of inventory right now. And so realizing that it's a great opportunity for us to take our skill levels to the next level, for those folks in my EXP friends and fam network. Looking forward to really digging deep with John. And he's been doing this, I think he said, for like a sweet 16 years and working the leads in a very similar kind of way, and has built a system that I think real estate agents in any country might be able to leverage and to replicate. And so with that, John DeSchmidt.
Well, thank you, Matthew. Can everybody hear me okay?
You sound great.
Okay, great. So what might be appropriate, I think what I'll cover here is Matthew indicated, some strategies that I think everybody can take some things with here for sale by owner, prospecting, as well as expireds and withdrawals. And it's kind of funny. What might be appropriate is, how did I actually get into this? So I started, I'm originally from Michigan, been here in Charlotte for 14 years. And I started with KW in one of their massive, huge market centers. So I came out of the corporate world, had no idea where my first lead was going to come from. So I sat in the back of the room at a couple of sales meetings, and I would hear comments like, well, you'll never catch me calling an expired lead. That's low hanging fruit. That's beneath me. Okay. So new kid sitting, you know where this is going. So new kid sitting in the back of the room, and as somebody else would say, well, I'll never call it for sale by owner. I'm way beyond those. You know, I don't need any of that stuff. I'm way more advanced than that. So, okay. So you know where this is going. So this is like 04, 05. And I had a very sophisticated lead generating method at that time. On the weekends, I would get in my car with my son after we'd get home from church on a Sunday with a yellow legal pad and drive around and look for sale by owners. That was my sophisticated lead gen at that time. So now we got it made. They email them to us, 8, 10 different sources we all have. I get them every morning, email to me. We just got to start dialing. It's easy now. But now this is in Michigan in January in 6 inches of snow. So other than that, it's a piece of cake. And it was
a piece of cake, right?
Yeah, 32% unemployment in Wayne and Oakland County. So, I had to go on 4 or 5 listing appointments to find one that could sell, because everybody was upside down. So nobody around here has ever been through a market like that. So, I mean, it's so much easier here. Stuff's selling. There's just nothing for sale right now. So I started calling for sale by owners, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I just, more guts than brains type of mentality. So I started calling them and kept calling them. Before long, I had an appointment. Then I got another appointment. Then I got my first listing. Then I got another listing. So then a couple of them actually sold. So fast forward, in my first full year at KW, I actually had 42 closings, and 35 of them were for sale by owners.
Wow. That's a great first year, John.
Yeah. So it's a little easier up there transaction wise, because you can double dip a lot of your listings, where like in North Carolina, it's much harder to get both ends. And that's another conversation. But so then I added on expireds, then I added on withdrawals. So in 16 years today, even though we have all this new technology and lead gen sources, I still work those 3 every single week, from one big reason. they all, as you and I've talked several times, Matthew, they all have their hand up. So they all have made an attempt to sell recently. Most of them still want to sell. So it's like they've got their hand up. Matthew, come get me. We still want to sell. So you just got to convince them you're the agent for them. So that's my basic background as to how I got into for sale by owners. So if you want, I'll just go ahead and dive right into the for sale by owner piece. And I guess feel free to anybody if you have questions along the way. And we'll just have at it here. So
that sounds great, John. I think that's a great idea. I think that one of the things that just to set the tone is, and I've shared this with my mentees, but for those out there that have not heard me say this, you were the guy really that helped me realize for sale by owner is not a cold call. You know,
exactly.
a lot of people call them cold calls, but they're really not, because they've already raised their hand to say, I want to sell my house. Right.
Exactly.
So I'll let you roll into what you got there with that, because it's your mindset and the method. Really, I'm looking forward to hearing more about.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. Those, I call them the big three: withdrawals, expireds, for sale by owners, are, in my humble opinion, warm calls, because they've already recently made an attempt to sell. So something derailed it or disconnected their last attempt. And, you know, we talked for a minute this morning. I'll throw this out there before I get into my examples here, but the hottest leads going right now, I can tell you, the gold of the gold leads are, let's say 90, or even scale it back to 30, say 30 to 180 day old expireds, withdrawals, and for sale by owners. Because your first couple of weeks, there's 100 agents chasing them every day. So after a month goes by, they're answering their phone again. Most agents have kind of given up on them. The first few days, it's just a tsunami. It's impossible for an agent to get through. Now, when I get into expireds, I'm going to explain, you know, how I navigate through those voicemails. There's a science to that. So if that makes sense, I mean, I think I mentioned this morning, I think I got 5 listings in the last 6 weeks, and they're all of these. They're for sale by owners and expireds that were from the fall. So now they're, whether it was COVID or, you know, a bad inspection report or a buyer lost financing, now they're ready to try again, because the market's even hotter and tighter here in Charlotte. I mean, we have nothing for sale here. I mean, there is zero inventory. So they're trying again. So I got 5 of them. I call them and they're answering their phone. They're open to suggestions, and, you know, away we go. And most agents have given up on them by now, if that makes sense.
That makes great sense, John. Well, and getting 5 in the last 6 weeks, I just wanted to repeat that in case the gang didn't hear that, because that is strong. I mean, that's a great month.
Yeah, that's like 10 or 12 in a normal market. I mean, because they're so hard to get right now. It's that hard just to get an appointment, you know, with any degree of seriousness. I mean, it's that what I call extreme around here right now. And you guys see it there as well. So here's the way I look at for sale by owners, if I may. So wherever you get leads from, like my number one primary is Land Voice. I mean, there's Red X, there's Vulcan 7, there's all these sources that can get you leads, and most of them are pretty affordable. The way I look at for sale by owners is I tend to approach it differently than most. The minute an agent gets a stack of leads, let's say on a Monday morning, and here comes a stack of new for sale by owners or withdrawals, they can't wait to call them. And when they call them, if they can make contact, they immediately want to try to talk them out of listing. And, oh no, it never worked. You got to list with me. That's it. No way. And they just kind of keep pushing. Well, if you give that some thought, let's focus on for sale by owners here for a moment. They've probably just spent some money on some ads, you know, a couple local newspapers, a for sale by owner website, whatever. They got some signs around town, and they're determined initially that they're going to sell it themselves. They don't need us. They're sick of 50 phone calls already. So they're determined they're going to sell it themselves. So what I do is I call them, and I'm going to show you when we get a little further here how I actually get through on the phone, which is kind of a science to itself. I introduce myself. I tell them who I am. This is John D. Schmidt, eXp Realty. I wanted to introduce myself. from the standpoint, I've had a lot of success assisting for sale by owner homeowners, just like you, in recent years. And in case you get to a point, I may even start off by saying, if it's a brand new lead, are you still attempting, sir, to sell for sale by owner? And if they say yes, I'll say, you know what, that's great. Now they're expecting me to try to talk them out of going for sale by owner and list immediately, right? So I tend to befriend them, and I'll kind of go the other way and say, well, you know what, that's great. And I've had success assisting for sale by owners like yourself. And what I tell every one of you for sale by owner homeowners is that if you can sell it yourself, terrific. And if you can dodge the commission, terrific. Now, most can't for a lot of reasons. I put that right out there. And if you, and I'll repeat, and I'll go, if you can save the 6%, I always say 6%. Okay. So you're laying your own groundwork. Okay. Then more power to you. So I just simply introduce myself, and I'll say, have you had any offers yet? Are you getting much traffic? We get through the exchange of initial pleasantries, and I'll say, let's say it's Tom. I'll say, hey, Tom, would you mind terribly if I checked in with you a little ways down the road? Say it just like that, a little ways down the road, just to see how it's working out for you. And 90% of them say, sure, John, call back anytime. So let's say that's a Monday. You guys tracking with me? The very next Monday, I'm going to call Tom back. Hey, Tom, this is John D. Smith calling you back from EXP. We spoke a week ago. Just curious if you've had any offers or how it's going for you so far for sale by owner. And normally I'll get something like, well, we had a couple of showings, John, but I don't think either one were qualified. Really nothing to write home about. All right, well, no worries, Tom. Maybe you'll have luck this coming week. So that's 2 phone calls back-to-back Mondays, okay? I'm going to call them, within a day or so. I'm going to call them the next Monday. So that's 3 Mondays, which is 2 full weeks, and this will be my 3rd call. So I'll call Tom back and say, hey, Tom, John D. Smith calling you back. Any luck? No, John, I've just had a couple of calls, kind of wasted time, no luck whatsoever. I'm getting kind of frustrated. So here's what I do. I'll say, hey, Tom, listen, it sounds like you really want to sell. And I may ask him where he's heading, from Charlotte here after he sells his house. Some know, some don't know right now. Now say, if you wouldn't mind, I'm not far away from you, Tom. Would you mind terribly if I stopped over for 15 or 20 minutes, maybe in the next few days, if you have time? I would just like to show you how I professionally market a home and how I've been able to assist many, many for sale by owner homeowners just like yourself, in case you get to that point, Tom, where you need to seriously consider listing with an agent. And at that point, at least you'll know what I have in my arsenal. And then the rest is up to you. You see how I set that up? So at this point, he's frustrated. He's tried 2 weeks. He thought he was going to sell it in 2 days. No takers. Okay. So you see how I kind of set up the appointment. So now, okay, this guy says he's an expert with for sale by owners. He sold many of them. He keeps calling me back. He's easy guy to talk to. All right. Now at this point, he's curious to see what I have to offer as to how I do it. Okay. So when I get there, sometimes this actually starts by phone, but let's say I just got the appointment and I'm going to be there in person. I'll say, Tom, after a quick look at the house, quick walk around the house, which we all typically do to get a feel for what he has. I say, Tom, listen, thanks for letting me come over. And I just wanted to let you know, you got a great home here. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't sold yet, but I think there's reasons why that may be. And, oh, why is that, John? Then you're right into the role play, right off the bat. I'll say, number one, Tom, and you guys want to write this stuff down. Now, here comes the real nuggets, okay? Most buyers, Tom, want representation on both sides nowadays. So give that some thought. But most buyers want representation on both sides nowadays. There is a lot of moving parts to selling a home. Now, here's what's actually may be happening, Tom, as we speak. You may have your dream buyers driving up and down the street every day the last 2 weeks, and they see your sign and they look at your house and they say, man, that house could be perfect for my family. But the minute they see for sale by owner, they're terrified to approach you because, number one, they don't know what questions to ask, especially if it's a younger buyer. Number two, and more importantly, they don't know if you know what the answers are. So they're going to hit the pause button and say, I'm going to wait for a listed property. At least I can get some accurate information from a professional realtor, assumably. So that's number one. Number two, Tom, here's the main reason. You are missing out as a for sale by owner homeowner on a tidal wave of technology designed to do none other than drive qualified and serious buyers right into your driveway. So here, you see what I just said? You're missing out, and say it just like that, because it hit sledgehammer. Tom, you're missing out on a tidal wave of technology designed to drive buyers right into your driveway. Only right now, they don't even know you're there. And that kind of freezes them. That kind of, I've caught them off guard twice now. You see how I'm doing that? Say, Tom, listen, you got a great home here. You just let me walk through it. Nice yard. You back up to a ball diamond. You're close to the mall, easy access to 485, whatever it is. This is why you're struggling as a for sale by owner. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of statistics here that kind of further these earlier points. But when you start off with those, they're really good, what I call like attention getters to initiate a conversation. So buyers want representation on both sides nowadays, lots of moving parts. Number two, you're missing out on a tidal wave of technology designed to bring buyers right into your driveway. At that point, I may say something like, Tom, just so you know, the best buyers aren't even aware of for sale by owners, because they're getting it off phone apps, internet apps, search engines, MLS, specialty sites. They don't even know you exist. So the world is passing you by as they see your for sale by owner. I mean, every now and then somebody lucks out and snags a buyer, but most can't, as I originally mentioned. Okay. Now, here's a couple of statistics. NAR states, National Association of Realtor, the average fully listed property gets 8 to 10% higher gross sales price than the average for sale by owner. And we only want 6. See, I just got your 6% right there. See how I did it?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So now, anybody know who Kevin Ward is? The Power of Yes. Anybody heard of him?
I've heard of him. Don't know that I've read.
He's one of the best coaches. He's got a book out, The Power of Yes by Kevin Ward. He came up with something about a year ago that just made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It was so powerful when you're talking to a sale by owner. So check this out. I've since added it to my kind of arsenal of dialogue here. Say, Tom, do you know that 90% of all people that start out for sale by owner, 90% never sell at all? And of the 10% that do go under contract, 50% of those never even close. So let me say that again. 90% of the original for sale by owners never sell at all. And of the ones that do go under contract, 50% of those never close at all. So that's 5% from where we started. Now, lots of different reasons, okay? Financing fell through, bad inspection, combination of both, disconnect on dates, communication, what have you. So I go like this. If the dialogue is going well, now you're sitting at the kitchen table or the dining room table with old Tom here, right? So Tom, how would you like this scenario? 2 weeks from now, you snag a buyer. Unannounced, here comes a young couple, love your house, want to see your house, you show it to them. They make you an offer and you negotiate it. Great. We got a buyer. We're under contract. Do the inspection. Fine. No major hurdles. Few little repairs. Got through that. Here comes the appraisal. It appraised at full price. Great. We're basically through due diligence. Okay. So now we got to find a place. So everybody around here goes to Myrtle Beach. So we're going to go out to Myrtle Beach now and look for our dream home. So we go out this weekend, meet a builder, nice new development. We write a big fat deposit check to that builder. And my wife loves this neighborhood and she loves a certain floor plan. So we're going to buy this and we're going to set sail with this builder. So you get back that Sunday night, all excited. You're moving to Myrtle Beach. You get a call early the next week, the buyer's financing on your house just fell through. Something popped up on a credit score, and that whole thing just got torpedoed. So now you got money on the table with that builder in Myrtle Beach. You sure don't want to lose that. You're almost forced to list your home with a realtor, and probably at a lower price than you had hoped, because now the clock's ticking. You don't have months and months to dilly-dally around. Now you've got an end in sight. So, Tom, do you want to go through that kind of scenario? Because that does happen all the time. The statistics just told us, and this is confirmed by NAR, 90% of for sale by owners never sell. So you see how I'm kind of just planting seeds and building a case. Now, when I get there, the key to my forte has always been my listing presentation. And this is another whole conversation. But when I finally get there, I try to come so well prepared. I mean, I'm big on a portfolio. I'm big on how you set the table at a listing presentation. I have a very precise sequence of events on how I explain things. I literally want to try to overwhelm that seller and say it in a real nice, polite way, so that by the time I leave his home, I want him to scratch his head and say, you know what? I don't have a prayer competing against a realtor like him. So given another week or two, you've just made your case, okay, and just politely excuse yourself. So Tom, if you get to that point of considering listing, now you know what I have in my arsenal here of marketing, okay? They usually call me back within a week or two. John, just come list the house. Now, some of them do it right there on the spot. So if you do a good enough job and go fully prepared as best as you can on that listing appointment, it's what I call their knees are going to buckle at some point. So, they back out of their driveway every morning. They see that handwritten for sale by owner sign. They come home from work at night. They see that ugly sign again. So after a while, they just give up. And you show them what all of us can bring to the table in terms of resources. And he doesn't have any of that. So he's trying to just hit the jackpot and kind of hit the lotto, maybe a drive-by. But while all this is going on, like I tell them, the best buyers don't even know you're out here. The strongest buyers that want to buy your home, Tom, for all the right reasons, don't even know you're here. And that really resonates. So does that make sense so far?
That makes great sense, John. And it sounds like a lot of the time you will just build the case and the strength of what you're bringing to the table,
Yeah.
as well as the limitations on trying to do for sale by owner, and helping to educate the seller in the process.
Exactly right.
Realizing the things where it can go off the rails.
Yeah. So an inexperienced buyer knows very little about property disclosures. An inexperienced seller knows very little about property disclosures. So I made another short list here, and you guys can take this right with you. Problems for sale by owners have as homeowners. They have a lack of exposure, which we just kind of discussed. They're snagging probably nothing but bargain hunter buyers. So buyers that see their sign and may want to make an attempt, say, well, listen, we know he's dodging the commission. And I'll say, Tom, they think they now have license to come in with a real low ball offer. And I'm assuming you don't want any part of that. No, John, I don't want low ball offers. Okay. They have zero negotiating skills. They've never done this before. And then obviously the legal liability, they've got to complete property disclosure forms, at least in this state you do. And there may be some gray areas there. So that's all part of how we earn our nickel. And, I'm at a point now with the way this market is, I've never seen anything like this in 16 years. And Matthew, you and I have talked about this. I think out of my last 6 or 8 listings, when you have when you're talking price, where they should be on their listing price, if the market says we should be here, if you want to get a little aggressive, you can obviously air a little high now and maybe still easily get it. So raise the bar here. If you want to get real aggressive, raise the bar 2 notches. I think 7 of my last 8 closings, they raised the bar 2 notches and they all got it.
And then amazing.
Over asking. So,
wow.
And that will pay for a lot of commission, Tom, is what I say. You can literally air high right now. In no time since, this market we're in right now, has anybody been able to do that with any degree of regularity. So you can you can set the bar high. I mean, around here, they're saying 8 to 10 buyers for every seller. I'm not
Wow.
sure what it's like in Charleston. It may be more because we have 100 people a day moving in here and there's nothing to pick from. So just say everything is in your favor. The buyers have historic low rates. You have the least amount of competition. Okay. But they don't know you're out here because you can't possibly tap into the resources I just shared with you because you're for sale by owner. The other thing, and the last thing is a lot of buyers that do notice you, or some buyers may think there's something wrong with the house. Well, then why is he for sale by owner? A fully listed property is going to get multiple offers right now. So if you set the table properly, it almost falls right into your lap. You just got to kind of have this conversation. And I don't hit them with all these bullet points at once. I'll usually take 2 or 3 to set the tone of the conversation and kind of build from that. You guys tracking with me?
Yep.
Okay. And what usually happens is when all I've done here is ask to show him what I do. I'm not asking for a commitment. I don't believe in how to close them or any of the bait and switch nonsense. I've always looked at it. If I do my job, they're going to close me. And usually what happens is they either call me back and say, John, listen, we're not having any luck. Can you come over tomorrow? Let's just get it listed, or right there on the spot. Okay. But if you do your job right, they kind of close you. That's the way I've always looked at this. If it gets to a point where I have to try to close, then I haven't done something properly. I haven't done a good enough job, if that makes sense.
Right. Right. That makes sense,
Okay.
John. I mean, it's really, they need to be sold on it. You're not trying to like manipulate them. You're just giving them facts, and
Exactly.
really helping them distinguish the difference between what having professional representation is and what is not, right?
Exactly. So all I'm asking to do, and all I asked initially by phone was, can I show you what I have? Just in case you get to that point where you need to consider listing with a realtor. And that way, once I show you what I have, you'll know what I have in my arsenal. And then the rest is up to you. And hardly anybody says no to that because at that point, he's curious as heck. Well, what's he got that's not working for me? Well, how soon can you come over? Because they're frustrated now. They got to get the house sold. You know what I mean? And it kind of falls right into your lap if you set it up properly. Now, while this is going on, all these other 50 agents are calling them every day. Oh, there's no way you can go for sale by owner. You got to list with me right now. And it's all about me, me, me. I try to befriend them. I mean, I literally do befriend them. Some become great friends of yours once you get them sold. Okay. And say, look at me as a resource. Look at me as an asset. This is all about you. Say, Tom, if you decide to list with me, I work for you. This is not about me or any realty firm. This is about Tom and his family. And when you say that, you'll have them eaten out of your hand. Too many realtors, and you guys all know this, they're all about chasing that closing check and just chalking another one up. When you say, I'm here for you, about you, and I work for you, Mr. Seller, you got them eaten out of the palm of your hand. And I'm amazed how easily that gets forgotten, if that makes sense. So.
Well, and you're delivering on it too, John. The level of service that you provide once it goes, under contract, when you have a listing agreement, you're meeting those expectations, and you're one of the sharpest guys to stay in touch even after the listing. So knowing that you've already stayed in touch, sometimes 2-3 weeks, even longer, you've outlasted the instant gratification, short game. And so you've kind of proven yourself relationally beyond what a lot of the agents who are just, calling the first day or first few days are doing.
Yep. Yep, exactly. So I kind of insist on my own self. I don't make it pressure packed in any way. I continuously say, this is about you. If it's just not working and I'm here for you. And I teach a lot of my newer agents, like I got several in Atlanta now. They call me all the time because a lot of new agents are somewhat fearful to try to call a for sale by owner. They think it's like I don't know how to say it. They're afraid they're jumping into the deep end of the pool without a life preserver, and they're not really sure how to handle it. So I just have a couple easy conversations with them like this, and they'll call me back. John, you're not going to believe this. I got 2 listing appointments next week, and I did just what you said with that first guy, and it worked like a charm. So now, having said all that, so what I tell them then, I just showed you how to get there. Now, when you get there, you better be prepared with a really good listing presentation. You cannot just wing it. You know, the 5 P's: proper preparation prevents poor performance. That's been my motto since I played Little League ball. Okay. So that's how I do for sale by owners. And any questions so far? Okay. Expireds? Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm going too fast, because I know you got a limited time, my next one's not till 3:30, Matthew, so I can go a good ways if you guys want. But I just want to try to get as much here as I can, and then you guys can, fire back to me. Okay, so now let's talk about expired listings. So in my humble opinion, an expired listing and a withdrawn listing, in some states, they call it an off-market listing. It's the same conversation. Now, this is a different conversation than Mr. For Sale by Owner, and I'll tell you why. This takes a little bit of time. You see how I had to walk Tom down that path? And I'll get that listing once I get there, 90% of the time. The expired world is a fast-moving target. I mean, it expired last night. 50 agents are calling them in the first 3 days, maybe more. I mean, they're calling 8-10 hours a day relentlessly. The voicemail fills up. So now you got a problem. How do I navigate through all these other realtors? How can I even have a conversation with these people? All right. So this is where I think there's a science, believe it or not, into how you actually leave a voicemail. So let me explain. So, after I get a few of these, the sellers, once they kind of let their guard down, they tell me what the other agents are saying on their voicemail or how they're trying to approach them, and it kind of helps you. But so let's say a listing expired last night at midnight, and I got some leads here, and I want to start calling expireds today. So before 12 noon, they're probably going to have 10, 12, 15, 20 realtors calling them. Just no let up. And they're going to get just a barrage of voicemails. And it's usually somewhere along the lines, because sellers typically tell me this after the fact. Hi, this is so-and-so from Remax. I'm the #1 agent in your neighborhood, and I see your listing just expired. You need to call me back. I'm the only one in the neighborhood qualified to get your home sold. So, okay, fine. So they leave their number. On to the next one. Okay, this is Mary with Century 21. I'm with the #1 team of the #1 office, and I'm the #1 this. And here's my cell phone, and your listing just expired. And, all about me, but no solutions. Okay. So they'll get 4 or 5 of those, and then they'll get probably 8 or 10 more of those. And then what happens is, the minute these sellers get wind, oh gosh, another realtor leaving a voicemail, they just start deleting them. You know what I mean? After 5, 6, 8, they just start deleting them. They're sick of us already, and they haven't even met us yet. Okay. So I'm going to throw them a curveball here. So we know, as Matthew and I have been saying, when we see expired, we know typically they got their hand up. So they just made a recent attempt, real recent, to sell their house. It just didn't connect for whatever reason. Okay. So what does a seller need? I'll ask you the question, Matthew. What does a seller need to sell a house?
Well, they're going to have a buyer to show up and be willing to pay them something for it, right?
So they need a buyer. So why don't we try something like this? They care less who I am, what baseball cap I'm wearing, how many homes I've sold, where I'm from. I talk funny. I'm from Michigan. They care less. They want to know who's going to help them get their home sold. How about this? Hi, this is John D. Smith. I'm with eXp Realty right here in Matthews. I was just curious, are you still accepting offers on your home for sale on Galway Court? My cell number is 704-999, and then repeat it twice. Always repeat it twice. Now think about what I just did there. By the way, that is my favorite one to date. If you use that voicemail script religiously every week, it's 6 figures a year for withdrawals and expires. I guarantee you, because I'm living proof. Okay. I'm no smarter than anybody else, and my wife of 30 years reminds me of that every week, okay? I just work harder than most at this stuff right here. So I'm a huge proponent. The better your phone skills, you're going to hit a home run after home run, where 90% of agents don't take the time and they just what? Wing it. They wing it on the phone, they wing it on the voicemail, and then heaven forbid they wing it when they get there, and then the ball really drops. Okay? So what did I just say? Are you still accepting offers? Now picture that homeowner. Let's say it's a husband and wife. They just got home from work. They're listening to this whole rampage of voicemails. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. They're tired of us. And then here comes this guy with this Michigan voice, and he says, wait a minute, did you hear that guy? He said something about offers. So they go to play mine back again. Okay, did you hear what he said? Are you still accepting offers? Now, wait a minute. He said EXP, so we know he's a realtor. So what does this guy want? Is he just chasing our listing? Does he have a buyer? Does he think he can get a buyer if we give him the listing? Does he want to buy it himself? We better call him back. And then I probably have 3 times the callback rate. I mean, don't take it the wrong way, but I just do because I've been doing this so long. So they're curious as heck as to what I have to say. I mean, how simple can that be? Are you still accepting offers? So here's what's going to happen. I'm more, I got a lot of gray hair now. I'm more now the longer I'm in this. Let's cut to the chase. Okay. So if their brother-in-law is their realtor, they're not going to call you back. If they decided they're not going to move and they're just going to stay put, they're not going to call you back. If they've already committed to another realtor, they're not going to call you back. So who are we looking for? We're looking for sellers that still want to sell that have not yet recommitted to the next realtor. That's our sweet spot. And there's a ton of them out there. As I just, mentioned, I got 5 in the last 6 weeks. And 3 of them told me, John, we were so curious about the voicemail you left us. That's why we wanted to call you. So I'm all about, if we can get them calling us back, we're halfway there. We're 80% there. Now you just got to go prepared. Okay. So, and I know you guys are all sitting there wondering, what are you going to do now, John, when he calls you back and you don't have an offer? I'm going there in a second. Okay. You're wondering that, right? Okay, watch.
John is again using the power of curiosity. That is one of the best motivators for human beings on the planet, right?
Exactly right. So that's a really good lead-in script. And I'm here to tell you, when I first started at any of this, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just, like I say, more guts than brains, failed 20 times before I get one conversation. So I've tried every voicemail from short and sweet to 2 miles long. And then I found out you only got 30 seconds on most of these. So that didn't work. So now let's just cut to the punch. Okay. Are you still accepting offers? So we now know who's not going to call me back, but we're looking for those people. So what, real fast, why did it expire? It's always the agent's fault, right? Couldn't be overpriced. The house couldn't be a mess. Couldn't, backs up to railroad tracks. That can't help, but it's got to be the agent's fault. I'm kidding, but you know what I'm saying? So there's a problem here. And a lot of times, if you just let them tell you a story, it's an easy connection. Oh, well, that's all it was. Most of these agents are in such a rush to get a listing active, they don't even proof the MLS. So they forgot the schools. They forgot critical points in the remarks. The pictures are a mess. They forgot to take a picture of the master baths or something ridiculous. They're in such a rush to get it active because they're going to get multiple offers. Well, they've missed the whole point. Then they didn't go back and proof it, and it sits there for 6 months. So, I mean, we have people here in Charlotte coming in from all over the country. And, I have people, like I got one going active Saturday. I was telling you, Matthew, we got 18 showings already confirmed the day it goes active before 3 o'clock. And I have agents calling me from Texas, I think Ohio and Tennessee, asking us to email them an actual video. And you can't do that. That's illegal because that's the same as a showing. That gives them a running start. So then they can fire in an offer sight unseen before it goes active to beat the rush. But that's how intense it is around here right now. So I don't like coming soon. I'm off track here. I promise I'll get back, because we have agents around here jumping the gun. I mean, they're trying to show homes after dark and they got the combination. So I don't like that, but you have to give the seller the option. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's go back now. You with me on that voicemail?
Yeah, I love it.
That voicemail is worth a fortune. If you guys are just walking with me here, are you still accepting offers? And say it just like Ed. Are you still accepting offers on Galloway Court? Because that cuts right to the chase. Okay. I'll give you another one that's my second favorite. Okay. Hi, this is John, and this works just as good on a for sale by owner, by the way, as well. I've used it a million times. Hi, this is John D. Smith. I'm with eXp Realty right here in Matthews. I've got a couple of quick questions about your home for sale on Galloway Court. Can you please call me as soon as you get this message and then leave your number twice? Can you please call me as soon as you get this message? See what I'm doing? Curiosity. Boy, that guy sounded enthused. What's he want to talk to us about? He's pretty excited. It works like a charm for the people that want to talk to you. Okay. One of our dear colleagues down in Texas with eXp, I won't mention any names. She has one that is, it's hard to keep a straight face when you hear this, but she crushes it. Hi, this is Katie. I'm with eXp Realty, with her little Texas accent. Is your home still for sale or not? And she leaves her cell phone and then just hangs up the phone. It's like a 50% callback rate.
That's pretty simple.
I met her at a event in San Antonio. Hi, this is Katie. Is your home still for sale or not? And she hangs up the phone. I mean, that's hysterical. Here we are with all this technology, and that one little sentence. I mean, I think she had 45 closings last year. Yeah, outside of San Antonio, where all the big hitters are. So there's 3 right there. Now, I use these because I kind of know my own personality, and you can develop your own. But when you can stimulate that curiosity, you're able to navigate through some of these other agents that have no solution. They're just winging it, and it shows through on the phone. You know what I mean? This one I have going Saturday, I'm the 3rd realtor on this house. He told me he took 80 voicemails the first 2 days, and he called me back.
Whoa.
One that made him curious as to, well, what does this guy have to say? And then you got to go a minute or two once you get him on the phone. So, make sense? So you got 3 tasks here. And this is where the rubber really hits the road. You got to find a way to get them on the phone. In other words, you got to find a way on how to get through to them. That's number 1. Number 2, once you get a hold of them, either they answer the phone, heaven forbid they answer the phone, right? Then, you don't know what to say, right? I'm kidding. Once you talk to them, then you have to secure the listing appointment. That's number 2. Then once you get there and have the listing appointment, then you got to nail the listing. So guess what's the hardest of the 3? Number 1. Because 90% of the agents can't get through to any of these people. They don't have any phone skills. And I'm here to tell you, I make fun of myself, obviously, a lot. I have practiced this stuff hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. I mean, I study my pitch. I study my tonality. I study higher and lower. I try to make light heart of it, but there is a fortune in this stuff if you just do this every week. So whether you do it 30 minutes or 2 hours, whatever you can muster, there is a fortune, because 90% of your competition just wing it. They put very little thought into it, and they're just chasing that check. Well, I think the public is too smart for that nowadays. They've seen all this stuff. They want they want answers. You know what I'm trying to say? They don't want all the fluff. Okay, so there's 3 good ways to navigate through the tidal wave of voicemails that Mr. Seller is going to get. Now, I think the wiser way, let the first wave go by. I mean, you can try, but if any of you are newer agents, it's going to get a little frustrating maybe if you try the first 2 days on new expires, because, I mean, every agent in town is chasing them. Okay, go ahead and try. You got to get beat up a little bit before you get good at anything, right? So whether you wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, like I was saying earlier, I think the goal of gold right now is a 30 to 180 day old expired, withdrawn, or for sale by owner. Now we're coming off of COVID. So think about how many people that took their house off the market last summer and last fall, even in the winter, because of COVID. It's a little different around here in Charlotte. You know, I go to Atlanta a lot, and, you know, they open the door and then they shut the door. And then they open the door and they shut the door. You know, they're on, they're off with the restrictions. So you got a lot of people that were dying to sell last year, and then COVID hit. So they pulled it off. They were a little fearful, especially older couples, you know, older people that are very conscious of the virus, but they still want to sell. We know we can get top dollar, and we're moving down there to Boca Raton by our friend here on the line. Okay. But we can't yet because of COVID. Well, there's a bushel full of them right now that are ready to reload and relist it. We just got to go and find them. Okay. So a 30 to 180 day old listing, and you can go back farther than that, is absolute gold right now. So
interesting, because it also feels like there's momentum of people ready to make the change. They're ready to put things on the market because they've been waiting. Finally, things are starting to sort of open back up again. And so it does feel like the time is really right for that, John.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people. I have probably a half a dozen more here in my office that are dying to list, have nowhere to go. They've been to Charleston, they've been to Savannah, they've been to Wilmington, they've been to Myrtle Beach, anything that they idealize, there's nothing available. So I've had 2 people recently that did list, and they'd say, John, if we can get this price, we'll consider it. And then we'll have to go to an apartment for 6 months. We don't want to do that. But when this market shifts here in a year or 2, we know the hayride's going to be over eventually. So that could cost us 40 or 50,000 on the sales price of our home. So I've had a couple say, let's just get the best we can while the getting's good, and we'll find a place to stay. But not everybody can do that. So that's part of the pre-qualifying. You know, what do you really want to do? What's your goal? I have one couple here in Waxhaw that drove to Charleston 7 weekends in a row, and they couldn't find anything. And he had multiple offers in his driveway twice, and he had to turn them all down because his wife didn't want to move in an apartment. And I can't blame him sometimes. But so you can get top dollar, but you're going to be so limited. A lot of people just say, John, I got nowhere to go. Where some people say, I'll move in an apartment, or I'll do a month to month. Some may move in with family. I mean, all kinds of ways. So everybody's scenario is a little bit different, but we got to sift through that, and we got to find the one that I'm ready. You know, that's all it is.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good way to frame
about all those.
The top. Everybody wondering if it's a market top, you know, and that's one of the things. It's like, well, we don't know if it's a market top or not, but you know that your house will sell for more now than it probably ever would have before, you know, and so helping people realize that and to think about the possibilities with it, you know, to navigate how to make that next checker move, you know, to open themselves up for it.
Exactly right. Okay, so you guys are dying for me to get into this next piece. I can see it. Now, what do I do when they call me back and they think I got an offer, right? Okay, so let's see what John's really made of here. This young lady down here on the bottom, Miss Phillips, can you hear me? I can see the name, but I
can hear you.
No face here. I hope she can still hear us. Okay, so I get a call back. I'll give you the easiest one, and then I'll give you the hardest one because I get them all, right? The easiest one is, hey, John, this is Mary from so-and-so street. I'm returning your call from last night. You said something about offers. Oh, yes, Mary. Well, thanks for calling me back so quick. And I'll go something like this right out of the gate. Mary, I was so surprised to see your home didn't sell at all, especially a home as nice as yours. Kill them with compliments. Kill them with compliments. So Mary, I was just curious, are you still interested in selling? Again, I was so surprised it's so far reached right now that a listing would actually expire at all. She says, oh yeah, John, well, we've got to move to Cleveland, Ohio. My husband's job starts in 6 weeks. We've got to get to Ohio. Okay, cool. Well, I'm sorry to see it didn't work out for you and that the listing actually expired. Let me ask you this, Mary. Now watch how I say this. Would you be willing to look at a much more aggressive, possibly more effective way of marketing your home this next time around? So think about that. If she says she still wants to sell, and she just burned 6 months with another agent for no results, wouldn't you be curious to hear what another guy has to say? Most of them are. So say it just like that. Would you be willing to look at a much more aggressive, possibly more effective way of marketing your home this next time around? So I'll get that appointment 9 times out of 10 with Mary, unless her sister-in-law is the agent or something like that, I'm not going to get it anyway. And I'll get that listing. So now let me give you a real hard one. Let's say Bob. Okay, Bob's calling me back. He got my voicemail yesterday. So walk with me here. You don't mind me role playing like this, do you? It's
Oh,
usually
this is good.
pretty helpful. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this okay, Annie? Okay, good. John, this is Bob. I'm returning your call from yesterday. You said something about offers, John. So you got an offer on my house or not? Just like that. So Bob has just had his home listed for 6 months. It did not sell. He's mad at everybody. He's mad at his agent. He's mad at his agent's firm. He's mad he didn't get an offer. He's supposed to be in Texas now. His new job's about to start, and it's getting dangerously close. He may lose the job if he doesn't get there. So he's mad at everybody. And I've had this many times. So now I got to tell him I don't have an offer. So, John, I'm returning your call from last night. You said something about an offer. Do you have an offer on my house or not? I'll say, Bob, listen, thanks for calling me back so quick. No, I actually don't have an offer at the moment on your home, Bob. And then I'm going to get, are you serious? I waited all night to call you back, John. You're telling me you don't even have an offer. I say, no, Bob, I don't have an offer. Gee whiz, almost to the point, like, why in the heck are you even calling me? So watch how I turn this guy around. You tracking with me, Matthew? I think we just lost Matthew again.
It seems I'm the host again. He got cut off. Did you know? So I say go on.
All right, let me keep going. So yeah. I'll say, Bob, listen, here's the reason I'm calling. I was so surprised to see that your home, especially a home as nice as yours, okay, expired at all, came off the market at all. I just was curious if you're still a candidate to sell. So yeah, I'm calling about, are you still a candidate to sell, as in case I know of a buyer? And I'm also inquiring about your listing. This is what I specialize in. Oh, okay, I get it. So I'll go like this. Bob, here's the deal. If I list a home right now, this is the market conditions we're currently in. If I list a home, let's say on a Tuesday afternoon, it goes active, phone starts ringing, all kinds of activity for showings, right? I get a call, say from Atlanta, Georgia, and a nice couple from Atlanta tells me they're moving to Charlotte. They're coming here this weekend to house hunt. Just saw my new listing get activated, and they would like to make an appointment. They're going to drive in Friday night. Okay, Bob? And they want to see this house Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. No problem. Take down their information, 10 o'clock appointment. Now, Bob, here's what may well happen. Between Tuesday afternoon and Friday night when they get here, it may already be sold. So I just want to find out, Bob, that's why I'm really calling you, is to see, are you still a candidate or should we cross you off the list? Oh, okay, I get it. So you see how I turned him around? Now, the same question right now where you got him on the hook. So Bob, I can feel your frustration, and believe me, I can sympathize with you. Every now and then, you just can't come up with the right buyer, but I think I can help here. So let me just ask you, would you be willing to look at a much more aggressive, possibly more effective way of marketing your home this next time around? I specialize in selling properties that were not able to connect the last time around, because I have a whole different home marketing system you may not have seen before. Now, at this time, he's willing to hear and listen and look at about anything because he just lost 6 critical months. So then it usually goes right into, all right, well, I've talked to 10 other realtors, John, and as far as I'm concerned, you all sound alike. I said, y'all, I'm learning, huh? Y'all sound alike.
Yeah.
So what do you have, John, that these others haven't? So then I go into, this goes right into the meat of my listing presentation. I use a buyer capturing system. I use an 800 number that's voice activated right into my cell. So I, in many instances, get first crack at many buyers that others don't. This is kind of a longer winded conversation, but I'm just trying to set the stage here as to how I actually pin down appointments. Okay. I mean, it could be, he never even saw his listing and he saw the pictures are a mess, or critical points were missed on the remarks. Forgot the schools. That's a huge thing around here right now, the schools, because they're redistricting constantly. Whatever it was, usually there's a disconnect. And if you just take a minute or two to look at the last listing, a lot of times you can see it. So does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does.
So that's how I get expireds. Now with the withdrawn, it's almost the same conversation, but with the withdrawn, here you have a homeowner that listed the home, but something disconnected causing them not to even expire or sell, obviously. They just had to pull it off the market. And that can be any number of things. A job transfer fell through. One of the kids wants to go to college for 2 more semesters, so they're going to be home another year. They thought they had it on the market, or they thought they had it under contract. The buyer's financing fell through. It may have been under contract, bad home inspection, scared the buyer away. They could have had a big falling out with their agent, or a combination of all of these. So on a withdrawn, a lot of times it's just simple problem solving. And a little experience, you can say, well, you can connect those dots pretty simply if you just kind of look at it. When the market gets real hot like this, I hate to tell you, most agents think you just put it in the MLS and it's going to sell, and they're already like waiting for their closing check with very little effort. Some are not that easy. You got to put your time in. So does that make any sense? So that's kind of how I do it. Every home's a little bit different, but all I'm basically saying here and here is, listen, you had a chance. I mean, you've tried with all good intentions, either as a for sale by owner or an expired listing, and it just didn't connect for you. I'm just saying, I think I've got a better way if you give me a chance to show you how I do it. So your way tried and it didn't connect. I think I got a better way. And I'd love an opportunity to show you how I do it. So the guy that trained me in this business, he used to take an expired listing MLS. I'm not this brave. He would go right to the home. He'd say, all right, we know what didn't work, folks. Now, do you want to get smart and find out what that, I mean, he would hold it up right like, we know what didn't work. See, I'm not that, I don't, I try a little lighter than that, but, so I think I've got a better way. Would you mind if I showed it to you? That's all this is. This is an easy conversation. There's nothing I've said here yet is high pressure or any kind of bait and switch, right? But now, so now you see how I get appointments, right? Whether it's for sale by owner or expired. Now, when you get the appointment, you want to prepare like there's no tomorrow. I'm a big believer in a portfolio. I present comps a little bit different than most agents do. That there's a science to that. I've come to realize, and I've got a specific strategy before I even get to the house as to how I'm going to do my listing presentation. Because to me, you got one chance to really, really wow them. And if you drop the ball and go unprepared, you're probably going to fail because you got stiff competition these days. So that in a nutshell is how I do it. So you back, Matthew?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Little bit of construction in the neighborhood today, so I'm not sure what they're hitting over there, but making it a little rough on me.
Wow.
I
Okay.
knew you were a professional, though. I figured you, and Annie is my fill-in co-host and her cat Clementine, so I knew there would be no problem with the flow, even if I'm unplugged for just a little bit.
There you go. So yeah, I was just finished when you fell out there for a minute, Matthew, how I try to wind down that expired and withdrawn. And I really don't think there's anything too complicated. You want to have that simple conversation to find out if they're a candidate. And obviously they want to find out if I'm a candidate.
Right.
Ask for permission to show them what you have, how you do it, what you've done. I'm a big believer in I call it a portfolio, or have your listing book.
Mhm.
Show some examples of some of your success stories. It's all pictures.
Yeah.
For the record, I never take a laptop, one of these. I don't believe in PowerPoints. I don't believe in absorption rates, because every home is different.
Yep.
And it usually goes right over their head. I mean, I see these new agents carrying 3 laptops to a listing presentation.
Too much.
It would go right over my head if I was on the other end of that conversation. But
Well, there's so much that can go wrong there too. I mean, when you've got paper, your battery's not going to die. You're not going to have a problem with Wi-Fi. It's like you got, you can, it just
That's
prompts
it.
the stories and the curiosity continues, right?
That's it.
Right, and at least people with something tactile too to remember you by, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It does make it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I always hand, when I meet somebody, I always hand them my folder, and like, just even throw a Homes magazine or something, like right now I'm doing buyers and I'm a very new agent, but yeah, so I always like to leave them, leave them
Well,
something.
I was talking to a couple of newer EXP agents the other day. I was in Augusta, Georgia. And I said, I only wish I had what you guys have now at your fingertips to be with this company. You have so much to brag about and so much of a story to tell. Like when it first got here to Charlotte, there was only 6 of us.
Wow.
Grew to like 30. I mean, there was only, I think, I forget the number, like 160 in the whole state. Now there's 1,600 here in Charlotte. Okay.
EXP agents?
Yeah. Yeah. And they would say, John, we knew you at Keller Williams. What is this EXP about? So I would tell them this is a whole new business model, and we're agent owned. That's unprecedented. We're publicly traded. That's unprecedented. And the agents get an automatic buy-in on lucrative shares of company stock with every closing. Honest to goodness, I've had clients stop me right there and say, wait a minute, if I understand you correctly, that means you EXP agents are going to work twice as hard to get my listing sold, because you got added incentive with every one of your closings. I'm like, touchdown. You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
Tell me, they say, John, listen, we've known you for years, but I want to go with that company anyway because they're going places.
Yeah, that's right.
They're tired of some of the other name brands. We'll just leave that there, because
Sure.
there's no more. What I'm hearing now more than anything else, and I think it's pretty tragic. All these other offices that say, oh, we have state-of-the-art training, they all come off as robots and no solutions. They all say the same thing. They say the same, make the same calls, but no real answers or solutions. So, our whole, what is it, 25, 30 events a week, what an agent can tap into here in the cloud. I've never seen anything like this.
It's huge. It's
I think
huge.
it's
It's like
more like
50, John. I
60.
think it's up to 50. I mean, that's what I heard in terms of training and development. And realizing too, I mean, when you're a cloud-based brokerage, you know a thing or two about the internet, and 85% of the people, 85% of the buyers find what they're looking for online first, not driving by for sale by owner sign. That could happen,
Yeah.
but it doesn't, it's kind of the exception, not the rule.
Exactly. Now, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to break track here for a fast second. This market is so difficult. I mean, even for a guy like me that's made thousands of prospecting calls in 3 different states, okay? I'm actually now doing some circle prospecting for the first time in my career. Now, I've got a method to my madness. I'm kind of like laser focused in certain areas, but I'm doing it for 2 reasons. Obviously, to find some more prospects, but I'm revamping my entire database at the same time. And my wife and I have got like 900 new names since first of the year. And
Wow.
I'm taking a page right out of Ricky's encyclopedia. We all know Ricky Caruth, right?
Ricky Caruth, that's right.
When I first listened to him, the first couple of times, I've actually spoke to him several times now. He's an incredibly nice guy. But my first couple of times I listened to him, I didn't even know what to make of him. And then I started hearing more of his story and how he does it. The more I hear and listen to him, he has forgotten more than most of us will ever know as to how to be an individual real estate agent. I mean, he's been to the mountaintop and crashed twice, and now he's up in the stratosphere with the same basic principle. His whole thing is relationship first,
Yep.
not closings first. I mean, I'm hearing he's got 19,000 in his database now. 19,000.
That's huge. He doesn't
And
have to circle prospect anymore, John. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He's built such good relationships in that community that he's the go-to guy.
yeah, what floored me, Matthew, more than anything else about his whole incredible story, he told me one day, I called him and he called me right back in 5 minutes. And he don't know me from Adam. We know we're pretty well acquainted now. I said, Ricky, how are you emailing every single week? I said, I was always told once a month, maybe every 3 weeks to be top of mind and all that. I said, aren't you getting a ton of unsubscribes? He said, John, if they're going to unsubscribe, they're going to unsubscribe anyway. He says, I want the ones that are going to hang with me. He said, every Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, that email goes out. And he said, here's what I'm going to tell you. I get more referrals from people that I've never even met than from people I've known for years. When he said that, I was like, game over. I've never heard of that because they get emails in his messaging every single week. So when they think we need a realtor, we need a buyer's agent, we need a listing agent, this guy Ricky's right here. When I heard that, I thought we have all completely missed the point here. You know,
and it's such a simple thing.
Yeah.
To be able to do, you know, it's easy, but you know, doing it consistently, you know, over time is what the consistency over time is what yields results, you know, for sure.
And just a very quick, simple, like a touch, we used to call it, you know, whether it's a postcard or a call or a birthday card, it's an email. And he says the size of your database and the consistency of you doing that weekly email, he says now the agents with the biggest databases are the ones that are going to make the most money and survive this 8 to 10 years from now. The ones that don't are going to really struggle.
Wow. That's
There's
huge.
so many of these leads laying around and there's 150 of us trying to get every one of them. You know what I mean?
That's right. Well, and I tell the mentees, it's like your database is your data bank. You know,
Exactly.
there's a bank there that you've got equity in, and you built trust, you built relationships, and hopefully you built some people that are going to help refer business to you. Questions for John? I know we've run over the top of the hour a little bit. This has been awesome, man. You have unpacked some incredible practical strategy, script, mindset. It's awesome.
Thanks, Matthew. John. Yeah. Fire away.
Do you have the script available for sharing?
Your PDF?
Answer that. For a certain price tag, I'd be glad. No, yeah, I do. Yeah. What I'll do is, you guys are all EXP, right?
Right.
Yep.
Okay, because I don't want to feed the bad guys. I used to be with the bad guys. You know, we all were. But no, right. I'll get that. Can I get this to Matthew and then he'll forward it? Is that okay?
Perfect.
See, don't laugh. Okay. I took the little bus to school. I told everybody, right? On the front and back of this sheet, I got all the gray hair. Just use these scripts on those 3 for sale by owner, withdrawn, expired every week. There's 6 figures a year, and especially in those voicemails.
That one page.
You can't get a hold of them. Nothing matters, right?
So much.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's true. Absolutely.
Quick question, if I may.
Sure.
Go Babs.
What do you say when you don't have that portfolio, right? When you get that listing appointment or you get that appointment, say with the withdrawn or expired, but you don't have a portfolio, you can't point to your past successes, you know.
Are you a brand new agent?
Pretty brand new. Yeah.
Okay. Watch this. Your name is Miss Phillips. Okay. I'll tell you what I did. Now don't laugh. This is a true story. My first month in the business, this was at Keller Williams back in Michigan in middle of January, 6 inches of snow. I went and ordered my first couple of signs. So all red, Keller Williams. I had no listing presentation. I had nothing to say. I had no clients, nothing. Just, as I keep saying, more guts and brains, right? I went and took a picture of my sign. I put it in front of my house, took a picture of it. So walk with me here now. I'm going to build your portfolio here, and you don't even realize your initial portfolio is going to start right now. I went and took a picture of my new sign in my front yard. I got in the car and went 3, 4, 5 streets over. I'm driving. Okay, nice looking house. Doesn't look like their home. Jumped out of the car, put my sign in front of their front lawn, took a picture of it. Okay, throw it back in the trunk. Okay, here's a nice looking ranch on this street. Yep, they're not home either. Jumped out, took a picture of my sign in front of that house too. Now watch how I set this up. So here, I'll just grab it for you. This is no lie. I hope you can see this, but this is what one of my, can you see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Looks heavy.
So I got a huge investment here. This is probably $20 at Office Max. And, you know, I'm slow, so I get the big, large box of plastic sheet covers. Can you see? Let's see. This is one of my listing presentations. Can you see any of this? Here.
Just sold.
Yes,
in 6 days.
Okay, so these are all pictures of homes that I've recently sold. But there's a story behind each and every one of them. Can you see this, Miss Phillips?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, so here's what I did. Let me answer your question. Look what's on the very front. Pictures of my EXP signs, because I got 2 different versions now. You know, figures they changed the logo right after I got my signs, right? So what I say is this. I don't lay claim to anything. I say, Mr. Seller, I know you've never heard of EXP, and I know we've met before, but if you list your home with me, this is what my sign is going to look like in your front yard. And these are examples of yards that would have my sign, you know, if I'm the listing agent. So what you do is just show a couple pictures of your sign in a book like this, and you have no idea the psychological barrier you just climbed over. Now, notice what I did. You can't see any addresses or the streets, and I'm not laying claim to anything. I'm just showing them what Miss Phillips' sign is going to look like when they list with her in front of their home. You have no idea the impact a good picture is worth in this business. So then, before I had any clients, okay? I'm not even any good with a camera, by the way, but I get people that are. So what I used to do is I would drive around and just start taking pictures, and anything that I thought was a good conversation, like a talking point, I take a picture of it and get it right in my book. I'd walk through a couple of new construction models. Wow, there's a snazzy looking new kitchen, okay, with a nice island or something. Take a picture, okay? Nice looking backyard, maybe a swimming pool. Take a picture, okay? Then I would take a picture like this and I put on the top, is this your dream home? Or is this your dream home? Are you more prone to a ranch or a 2-story? All I'm looking for is conversation. And anything I could find, now this is way before we had this whole EXP story to brag about. This is Keller Williams, okay? Nobody heard of Keller Williams then either. So I would just put talking points in this book, but it started with a couple pictures of my new sign. So at this point, okay, here's my sign. Now you want to know how to put your use to your advantage, Miss Phillips?
Sure.
All right, watch this. Say, Mr. Seller, I know I'm fairly new and I don't have 20 other listings to juggle right now. So just think about it. I could put that much more time dedicated to selling your home alone. In me, you would basically have your own personal, private realtor. See how I turn that around?
Yep, absolutely.
Use that. You're catching me at a great time, Mr. Seller, because I'm still new. A year from now, I'm going to have 25 listings all around. Where are you located, Charleston?
No, I'm in Asheville.
Oh, I thought Matthew was in Charleston. I'm sorry. Okay, so a year from now, I'm going to have 20 or 25 listings, Mr. Seller. I mean, I've got big aspirations in real estate here. So, you know, the old put me in coach mentality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You are
So
you're my
get a
only
couple pictures
focus.
of your signs.
Yeah.
And then you got so much great filler. If you text me your cell number, I'll send you some good PR stuff to your phone tonight that you can print and just put in a book like this and just brag about the EXP story. Use that as like your ledge while you're accumulating clients one at a time, because you got the greatest story that's ever been told right now at your fingertips with EXP. And that's how I did. I never had any of this. I mean, I was I literally was winging it. I didn't know what to say or what to do. I just sold on enthusiasm. I mean,
Yeah, I'd love that too. I'm a new agent like Babs. Babs and I both started last year. Like September 1 and October 1. So
yeah. If you're brand new, listen, don't take this the wrong way. Don't bother bringing laptop computers to a listing presentation. They'll eat you alive. You get a book like mine, okay? People are visual. And what I have learned, they want to see pictures of houses. They want to see pictures of homes. And I deliberately set my book up. So on a couple pages, okay, I'll have some high-end homes, some big ones. Then I have some little starter homes. So you want to be able to, don't be cornered into just one type of home, like high-end, right. Okay? Or you've never sold a high-end home, you do all starter homes. Show a little bit of variety, and then what you can do, see recent sales. I mean, and I put some older ones. See this little ranch? I don't know if you can see this. See this to the right?
Yep.
So I got $700,000 homes on one page. This is 189 on the next page, because the process is the same. So what I'm doing here, whether I've been in this a month or 10 years, is I'm telling the seller, man, this guy, John, he is really into his business. You hear the way he talks? We got to give this guy a shot. Now, here's a knockout punch for you. You're on your first listing presentation, and you're preparing as best as you can, but they know you're new, and you know that you haven't had 100 miles under your belt yet, okay? Write this down. Guaranteed services agreement. This will get you listings. Somebody just faded out here. Can you hear me? Okay, write down guaranteed services agreement. So here's what may happen. You go on a listing appointment, and the seller says to you, you go on a Friday, and they say, okay, Annie, we're going to interview 2 other agents, and we're going to make up our mind Monday morning. Okay, great. Thanks for the opportunity to come talk to you. They call you Monday morning, and they say, Annie, I just want to let you know, we liked you a lot. You sounded great, but one of the other agents we also really liked a lot too, and we're having a hard time making up our mind. Okay, no problem. So here comes your knockout punch. Mr. Seller, if you're willing to give me a chance, show you how hard I can work and how well I can perform for you, here's what I'm willing to put right in my listing agreement. I simply call it a guaranteed services agreement. And they're like, well, what does that mean? I write right in the listing, in a case like this, if seller is unhappy, listing can be unconditionally withdrawn at any time. And I'll sign right next to it. So what you're saying is, if you just give me a chance, let me list your home, give me a chance. And when you can see how much hustle I put into the sale and marketing of your home, we go down the road a few weeks, and for some reason, if it's not clicking and you're not happy with me or with the firm I'm with, we can cancel the listing anytime you want. Nobody does that. So I'm an old ball player, sorry. So the old put me in coach mentality, that hits like a sledgehammer, because you're showing a sincere, humble confidence. Sincere, humble. No one does that. Does that help, Miss Phillips?
Yes, that does, very much so.
Yeah.
Annie and I both popped our cell numbers in the chat. Don't know if you can access that.
Well, here, just text me. I'll give you mine. It's 704. Okay, 704-999-0896. What was I going to send you? Some EXP stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, I got all kinds of PR stuff. I send all to my new agents. You can fill up a whole book on it. And then that way you got, as you're new, accumulating new clients, just use EXP as a ledge to hang on. It'll buy you time until you get a book like this. Now, I saved some stuff too long, but what I'm trying to, and I put dates on, see how long this guy's been in this business. There's no substitute for experience. So here, I'm gonna give you another one here that's huge. You ever go up against a team and get beat because of the size of the team, Matthew?
Yeah. Oh, well, you gotta frame it right. You gotta show them your hustle and ingenuity,
Okay.
bigger's not better.
So Miss Phillips, let's say you're a single agent and you're trying to get yourself started and you get listing appointments, and one seller says, Miss Phillips, listen, you sound really good and sincere, but I got a little problem here. We just met with the so-and-so team yesterday. Let's say the Tom Smith team of Remax. And there's 8 people on that team, Miss Phillips, have a total of 42 active listings. They have a transaction coordinator. They have 2 buyer's agents. They have 3 listing agents, on and on and on. So we liked you a lot, but how in the world could you possibly compete with that? So you want to hear how I am competing against the team? I say, well, let's think about that for a minute. And I sure appreciate you sharing that with me. So you met with a big team yesterday. You said 8 members. Is that right? Yeah, they have 8 people on their team, John. That's great. And they have 42 active listings. Yeah, that's great. Well, here's my first comment. If they've accumulated 42 listings in this market, they're sure not selling them very fast, are they? Because they're trying to figure out a polite way to excuse you. You see how I just did that? I said, I ran out of listings 3 times last year. That's never happened to me before in 3 years. I mean, in 16 years, 3 times I ran completely out. That's how fast we're selling them. And for record prices, I might add. So here's the other thing. I'm sure they're a great team and credentials from here to Toledo. But here's what I would tell you. The last 2 times a team came along and sold one of my listings, we have due diligence here. It took them almost 2 weeks to figure out amongst themselves who was going to organize the inspection, negotiate the repairs, order the appraisal, do the final walkthrough, do the reinspection, that we were halfway through due diligence and I didn't even still know who my first point of contact was. So that lost some critical time and days right there. With me, Mr. Seller, you only have to point one finger. I take care of all that for you. Like a one-stop shop. So you see how I just brought that team to their knees? I said, there's nothing more frustrating than you can't find out or don't even know who your main point of contact is, and you're trying to get your home sold. Okay. Now picture this, Mr. Seller. They mentioned they got 42 other active listings. So you're going to be number 43. There's 42 other sellers that are ahead of you in that big round barrel. How much of their time do you think you're really going to get? If there's 42 other people ahead of you and you are just trying to get yourself started. See how I turn that right around? So you can put your youth to your advantage. And a team will never give them that guarantee where if seller is unhappy, listing can be unconditionally withdrawn. I call that my guaranteed services agreement. I learned that in my very first year, and it's a sledgehammer. If you keep it as an ace in the hole, if you ever need it, and nobody offers that. You guys thought I was getting ready to cut my commission, didn't you? And I don't do that.
No, this is good. Thank you.
Yeah, that'll get you listings right there if you do it just like that. And call me anytime, you guys. I'm easy to find if you have questions on that. But when you go up against a team, a lot of agents, oh gosh, I don't have a prayer. They just crumble because they think they're getting intimidated. When I hear I'm going up against a team, I can't wait to get there. I know exactly how I'm going after them. Now, when I was younger in the business, I lost a few because, like you got to get kicked around a little bit before you get your smarts. So I'll save that step. I'll save you a few gray hair. Just have that one in your hip pocket, okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but go take pictures of your signs right away, Ms. Phillips, okay?
I love that.
And I want you to send me a picture of your signs, and I'm going to be looking for you out there jumping out of your car, putting your signs in the front yard, okay? My wife used to tell me, you're going to get in big trouble doing that. I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I think I might actually ask a few friends for permission to do that. And then take a picture.
I'm looking to see if they're not home. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's all good. Just get a couple of good pictures, like do one real up close and then one maybe 100 feet away of your sign, and put 3 or 4 pictures in your book. And all you say is, see, if you list with me, this is what my sign's going to look like in your front yard. You have just climbed over a huge psychological barrel, because they're looking at your card, EXP. Well, I've never heard of them. You know, we still get a little of that, but it substantiates your existence is what it does. You're a professional. Okay, she's got some nice looking signs here. There's their new logo. You're on your way. So there's nothing tricky about any of the, you know, I mean, I went to college, miracle I got through, but I went to college. I got a bachelor's degree, but there's nothing tricky here. I really do. I like to keep it down to matter of fact, because we don't know who these sellers are. It could be somebody with a PhD. It could be somebody that has very limited speaking English, and we get them all, right? So I like putting it at a level where everybody can understand me. Okay. Hope that helps.
That does. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Matthew, how are we doing? I think we lost Matthew again.
You're on mute, Annie.
Thanks. Yeah, he texted a few minutes ago, but it looks like he got it back on, but I guess he's not there. So yeah, thank you so much, John, for
oh, you're welcome. You guys call me anytime if I can help you, okay?
Yeah, I sent you a text and I've taken a lot of notes and gonna get on the horn and make those calls and do that hustle. It's, you know.
Yeah, and when you get those appointments, just get as well prepared before you go on those listing appointments.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
In fact, if you want, call me the end of this week or early next week. I'll tell you how I exactly present comps. I do it different than most, and it's extremely effective rather than just
thank you.
Sheets. There's a science to that too. Okay.
All right. Awesome.
I'm supposed to actually be on another call here at 3:30, so I actually got to kind of cut short.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you
again. Thank you.
But it's been good talking to you guys, and we'll keep in touch. Okay.
Okay.
All right, for sure.
See you later.
Bye.